things have settled down, I got to tell you, I don't like about myself kicking somebody when they're down. Ever. Ever. And I was a little hard on Blachowicz, and in all fairness, I've never not been hard on him. I'm not sure where that comes from. Now, in my defense, he can handle it. Okay, right? This is the baddest dude in the world, who, by the way, is handsome, is beloved, and's got a bunch of money. He can handle it. But I do notice over a period of time, right, a coin's got two sides. There's no way that the guy who was the world champion and who I believe just showed he is the best guy in the world, that he's never right. I mean, that's just not possible. So I think I need to fix a little bit of my tone, and I would like to tell you guys I didn't feel I was kicking him because I didn't feel that he was down. It was a draw. It was a draw. I have a couple of thoughts. I have a big problem with Jon conceding that he did not win that fight. I got to word it that way. He was careful. He caught himself a little bit to not say that he lost, but that he didn't win that fight. I have a problem with that. I had him up 3 rounds. He won 3 rounds. He lost 2. Those 3 rounds were very close. The 2 that he lost were very dominant. I still have a problem with it. He gets held down for 2 rounds. We all hate him. Now set the judging aside. I'm bringing a little different. We all hate him. He's terrible. Take his opportunity away. This guy's a bum. This fight's awful. A year ago, he beat Israel Adesanya by holding Adesanya down. And we come out of that talking about how boring he is, how that's barely any credit. Adesanya was an 85-pounder and he was outsized. I just don't feel that we can do both. Is he a bum because he got held down? Was he a bum for holding someone else down? It just can't be both. So we got to check our fairness there on Jon. Now, let me get back to the score. I had him up 3 rounds. I contacted during, I believe it was the 4th round, but it was during the fight. I contacted 3 separate licensed judges. Now, I was just looking for an opinion, and that's all they're held to the standard to. They weren't working the match, but these are 3 experts. These are 3 guys. This is what they do. I'm not an expert. I have an opinion like you guys. I will admit, I'm not an expert in judging. There are some intricacies there. I look at a fight, okay, this guy won, and sometimes it's really obvious. Generally, it's very obvious. Those hard ones, I'm glad I'm not assigned to them. And the sport's better off that I'm not. Can you relate to that? All right. But I got Jon up 3 rounds. He won the first 3 rounds. So I send a text to these 3 gentlemen, not a group text. It was all separate. And I said, Jon is up 3 rounds. Jon won the first 3 rounds, comma, correct, question mark. Exact verbiage. Copy and paste it, said to 3 different people. All of them said yes. Now, if any of you think that's crazy and I need to defend that position, don't forget, one judge that was assigned to the fight gave the match to Jon, and by the way, he saw it the same way. He saw it 3-2, and it was the first 3 to Jon, and it was the next 2 not. He saw it the same way that I'm arguing I did. Now, you have another judge who had it for Ankalaev, and you had a 3rd judge, and I want you to understand this. You had a 3rd judge that also had it the first 3 rounds for Blachowicz. He had 2 rounds for Ankalaev. He's saying the exact same thing that I'm arguing. But one of those rounds was a 10-8. So we have Blachowicz in a clear popular opinion. And that's not ours. Unfortunately, we don't get a weigh in on this. We have to look at the judges assigned. And when I say clear, 66%. 66% of the judges assigned said Blachowicz won 3 rounds and that he didn't win too. And for Blachowicz to come out after the fact and say that he for sure didn't win the match, there could have been a sportsmanship there. It was for sure detrimental. I mean, it's just the way that it goes. If you ever get to court and the defendant goes, God damn, yeah, I did it. I see it the way they say it. Yeah. You're not going to get his attorney to go, no, whoa, hold on a second. He's wrong. I know he says that he did, but hold on. He's actually wrong. And let me tell you why. It's never going to work. It's over. It's over. We're done. And he could be innocent. By the way, there are people often that, I mean, we don't have to go down that road. It's a big thing when somebody comes in and makes a confession within law enforcement, then they've got to show, well, did he actually do it? I mean, I'm just sharing with you. He could have been innocent. There's not a court case in history where he said that he was guilty, and then someone's go, well, hey, not so fast. Let's take another look at this, and I think I convinced you it just never happened. So when Blachowicz says that he didn't win, I mean, there we are. We're done. And it's a big problem for me. Because he deserves credit. And he did. He won 3 rounds. Common opinion. Chael's opinion, but it's all, I mean, I've proved it for you. I've proved it. Official, 66%. Said he won 3 rounds and he lost 2. The damage was also incredible, and you're never going to get through this. This used to drive Chuck Liddell crazy. And Chuck was right, but it hasn't changed from 20 years ago when it drove him crazy. It was just leg kicks. They're just not going to get, they've never gotten the same credit as a punch to the face, but they're never going to. And Chuck was an advocate. As quiet as Chuck was, he did make statements on this trying to explain the damage. And Chuck even broke it down. I mean, this is 20 years ago, and I remember him breaking it down. Remember Chuck? Guys were wearing those tight shorts that George St. Pierre made fashionable, but Chuck didn't. When everyone was wearing those, Chuck was still wearing those long ones, but he brought those shorts up. He brought up guys that wear those shorts, and he said, man, if I'm chopping you right there, that short covers it. That guy, pull that short up. That guy's got hematomas. That guy's leg's purple. I hit him in the face. He gets a swollen eye. I get credit. I kick him in the leg. I've done more damage. I don't get any credit. That's fine. We understand that point. We don't disagree with that. But at what point? To what extent? If you hit a guy in the face and he goes down, fight doesn't end. He keeps scrambling, right? But he goes down. Okay, but now let's say you kick a guy in the leg and he goes down. At what point do we have to see? I mean, I'm bringing this up for Blachowicz because I understand those first 3 rounds were very competitive. Blachowicz damaged him. Not maybe. He visibly damaged him. And I give Ankalaev credit. I'm not picking on Ankalaev here. That's a tough guy to adjust, to fix through that, to have to switch your stance, to have to switch it back again, to ultimately have to avoid the realm completely. Excuse me. Take the fight to the ground. I give Ankalaev a ton of credit. It doesn't change what happened. It doesn't change the damage that Blachowicz did to both legs. He was very effective. He won 3 rounds to 2, not maybe, for sure. Now there was a 10-8 round. I get that there's problems with my overarching premise. I do get that, but I'm factually correct here. Comes out and says that he didn't win. Now, I want to share this just from my perspective. Okay, I did a live show on YouTube. And when you go live for post-fight analysis, as you guys can imagine, you got to be very prompt, right? They fade to black, roll the credits, boom, what's up, guys? Let's talk about it, right? So, I only live a matter of minutes, a mile from here, right? In a 35-hour mile speed zone, you got to get parking just minutes away. So, I watched the conclusion of the fight at home with my son. I then grab my mobile device, I bring up ESPN Plus, and I'm watching and listening to the post-fight interviews. I sat in my parking spot and watched Blachowicz say, I did not win. I watched him catch himself and correct himself to not say that he lost, and I appreciated that. I then got out of my car and I just got the device. I'm not looking at it now. Relevant I just shared my perspective with you. But I can hear what he says, but I don't see it. And what he says is they're interviewing Ankalaev, and Joe Rogan goes over and says to Ankalaev, DC and I thought you won the fight. And Blachowicz comes over and says, yes, he won, give him the belt. And now I'm pissed at Blachowicz. I'm red hot at Blachowicz that he would make such a concession as a way of looking like a nice guy. So I came and I spoke to you guys. I did a YouTube bit on that. Boy, my phone was ringing. People said, shit, what are you talking about? That Blachowicz went over. So he said Blachowicz was shoving it in their face. Blachowicz was pissed. I said, what? I only heard the words. He made a concession. Give him the belt. Rogan acted like he was a good sport and a nice guy. And they said, no. So that's not what happened at all. He said, you've got his words right. He was furious. Joe Rogan goes over in front of the world. Blachowicz is just standing there. Joe Rogan goes over and says, DC and I thought you won. It was inappropriate as hell. They were smashing it in the face of Blachowicz to the point that Blachowicz came over and it was his way of calling out the bias. Oh, yeah, just give him the belt. This is what people are telling me. And I must tell you, I didn't see it. I only heard it. It wasn't my interpretation and impression. I'm bringing that to you because was it yours? Was it yours? Because that's a very different story. That's very different if Blachowicz, who is trying to be polite, and then feels that they're going to end the night with Ankalaev and the commentary team that is going to absolutely influence the audience. The commentary team is going to influence the audience more than the fight. It is a very rare time, but it is a number of times where the commentary team was leading towards one guy. We're all sitting at home going, what the hell are you guys watching? But they're giving it to one guy, and then the decision comes in. It was the other guy, and they're all surprise-faced. But then, right, the internet, which runs our sport, comes and backs the commentary team. You go, no, wait a minute. It's a rare time. They had it wrong, and I only use that as an example to tell you there's nothing that's going to influence the audience more than the commentary team, which includes the fight. And if Blachowicz walked over and he was pissed off that they did that, it's a very different story. I will have a very different interpretation. And I'm just asking you, I'm admitting that I didn't see it, I only heard it. Did I have that wrong? Were the people that called me right? Was Blachowicz pissed? Was he being condescending? Please help me to understand.